today.
Yes, we are thrilled to have you. So, for our listeners, could you maybe tell us a little bit about your role at Lebanon Valley College and just how long you've been at the college and just overall what you do in a nutshell?
Sure, of course. My name is Brynn Mason, and I currently serve as the director in the Breen Center for Graduate Success at Lebanon Valley College. I've been working at the college for a little over 5 years. All of my work has been in the Breen Center. However, I've seen the department change names during that 5 year time frame. So we used to be the Center for Career Development. Now we are the Breen Center for Graduate Success. Um, And what we do in a nutshell is really provide some really excellent career services, career readiness programming for current LVC undergraduate students, graduate students, and alumni of the institution. So we're really proud to say that we offer the full range of career services to all of the populations. And that really includes one-on-one coaching appointments related to every topic under the sun related to career services. We offer programs and events, opportunities to network with employer partners. We host job fairs. We host professionalism sessions. We host workshops. We collaborate pretty strongly across campus with academic departments, student activities and student engagement programming, athletics, pretty much you name it. we
Yeah.
try to we try to make ourselves available everywhere.
Yeah, I know you guys do a lot. And I know I was just going to ask this too. How many members are part of the Breen Center for Graduate Success? I know you got a nice little A team over there.
We do have a great team. So our associate dean is Dr. Kimberly Josephson, and she kind of oversees our strategic vision and our, programming initiatives. I serve as the director, and I really pretty much help support the rest of the team in day-to-day operations.
Mm.
We have Christina Wolf, who's our employer relations specialist. Megan McCabe is our career coach. Natalia Smith is our administrative assistant. We also hire a team of student career coaches who staff our drop-in hours, and we have numerous student workers and undergrad intern positions as well. So we're a pretty full team.
Yeah, that sounds pretty like you got a lot going on over there, I bet. Similar to our building in the admissions office. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brynn, if you don't mind sharing with us, why is career development so important to a college and specifically to its undergraduate students at that college?
I think it's important as students are considering which colleges to attend for their undergraduate, phase of their life, so to speak, that they look at the services offered by that institution. College is not cheap. So when a student is able to pay that tuition and get, all of those great services, those ways to engage on campus, both in and out of the classroom, I think career development and career services is just a really great component that is important for that student's professional growth. So if you think about it, we work with students we work with prospective students. We're at every admissions event. Y'all host us at most of your events, which is fantastic.
Mm.
And we are really talking with prospective students about how we can help them right from the first day they step foot on campus. So we're part of the orientation programming. We're part of the first year experience freshman, first year student programming. We are embedded into the curriculum at the sophomore, junior, and senior level. So it's really important that a student thinks about what services are important to them and what they think they need to get out of that experience at a college. And if a college doesn't offer really robust services outside of the classroom, for me, I think that's a big decision-making factor, whether or not those services are available. And I think a lot of colleges either don't offer the same services to the graduate population, or they limit the number of services offered to the graduate population. And I think one thing that makes us really unique is that we offer the full range of services. All of our programs, all of our events, all of our appointment topics are available to the graduate students as well. So I think
Mm.
that helps to make us pretty unique as well.
And that's very rare from what I've heard. I always forget that sometimes they give preferential treatment to people that are like, let's say, junior, senior in college and whatnot. But no, that's really cool. I actually did not know that about you guys. So great. I just kind of, I guess I knew that, but didn't really know that. But
We're always learning, Cole. We're always learning.
yeah, which is good. It keeps us out of trouble. Follow-up question for you, Bryn. EJ, I know we see this a lot with people that come through our office, but I mean, with when going to a college and talking about job placement and whatnot, standing out in a chaotic world is something I feel like kind of comes to mind. But could you maybe give us like an example of some reasons as to why developing a strong personal brand as well as an online presence is so important this day and age? I know that's a long question, but
Yeah, I think a student has to consider when they're graduating from college what kind of market they're going into and what their quote unquote competition will be, right?
Mhm.
So there are a lot of students graduating from college every year across the nation. And students need to make time and be deliberate about how they help themselves stand out and how they market themselves. So it's easy to go online and go on, Indeed or Glassdoor or ZipRecruiter and apply for jobs. And those search engines are fantastic. We use them all the time. But that's not the only thing that a student should be doing. They should be online. They should be developing that online presence through either professional social media sites like LinkedIn. They can also utilize their personal social media sites in pretty strategic ways to help themselves market. So, for example, if a student has a Twitter and a Facebook and an Instagram, maybe they take their Facebook or their Twitter, they make that public so that anyone who searches for them can view it, and they really drive all that amazing traffic of, all that amazing content of what they're doing, right? If they present at a conference and they have their poster presentation, have someone snap a photo of you with your poster, put that on your social media. If you're doing research and you have some photos of you working in a lab or something like that, or working in a group context, really be intentional about capturing some of those moments, either video, audio, picture content, and just really drive all that great traffic onto your social media. Then when an employer Googles you, because they always Google you when they're looking you up as a candidate, they can
Yes.
say, oh, wow, Brynn Mason has a Facebook. Let me click on that. And then what they see is, of course, the pictures of my family vacation, the pictures of my pets, the pictures of me and my friends, but they also see me with my poster at the conference, me with my friends doing research, me in this group project doing these really cool things. So you're giving them all that wonderful content that they really want to see, but it's also mixed in with you, who you are as a person, right? Your personal life. So I think students don't leverage their personal social media accounts enough. Another thing is that if you have the social media account, you have to use it. That's a big pet peeve of employers. If they're looking you up and they see that you have a LinkedIn, but you haven't done anything with it and you haven't posted anything for 6 months, or if you even have a Facebook or a Twitter and you're not active, that shows the employer that you're really not being intentional about marketing yourself. So if you have these social media accounts, log on at least once or twice a week, retweet something, share something, like something. It doesn't have to be much, but you definitely have to show some engagement on these social media tools. I think that will help students to market themselves. And you also have to put yourself out there. So you have to be a little bit more deliberate about your connections and your contacts and how you're working with those contacts to help your job search. So I think networking, meet as many people as you possibly can, build yourself into their network, stay connected with them. LinkedIn is a great tool to use that. And LinkedIn is very heavily utilized by recruiters right now. So I think it's, and LinkedIn's free and it's all personal, it's all professional information. There's no personal information on there, which, some people don't want to make their Facebook public, which I understand, but your LinkedIn should be public. And that's just all great, wonderful bits of information about your experiences and your educational credentials. So I don't know if
Yeah.
I answered your question. That was kind of a long response.
No, that was a great response. And I actually have a follow-up to that. Sorry to
Sure.
interrupt you, EJ. But I have heard actually some of my some of the tour guides that work in our office say that they've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're like, yeah, Brynn Mason told me that it's just as bad to have bad social media as having no social media at all. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
mean, these young people, they're born and raised in the age of technology. They should be online in some sort of way. So I think the statistic I most recently saw was a little over 60% of employers will not call someone for an interview if they can't find them online.
Wow.
So if they're looking you up and you've got nothing, you might have looked great on paper. You might have had the credentials, the degree they were looking for, the internships they were looking for. But if you're not doing anything to market yourself, then you're going to be put on the no pile. And that's 60% is a pretty high number. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to consider.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know competition is high. How would you advise students to stand out on their resume, on their cover letter? What's something you would tell them to do in that realm?
Yeah, resumes and cover letters are really important because they're that on paper piece of your brand, right? So they're that first piece of information that an employer sees when they look at you, or that a grad school sees when they look at you. It's part of the application process. So for a resume, I think, remember, it's not supposed to include everything you've ever done in your entire life. Your resume is really specific and tailored for the particular position for which you're applying. So think about the experiences you've had. Think about leveraging all of your extracurriculars, all of your co-curricular experiences, and really highlighting those on your resume in a clean, easy to read, easy to scan format. So I think a lot of companies get a lot of applications. So they're using those, computer software programs to scan the resumes before humans even look at them. So it needs to be in a format that's easy to scan, that's easy to follow. And I think it needs to include, obviously marketing yourself. And as a college student, you want to make sure to put everything on there that you've done that helps to market you for that role, right? So by the time you're a senior in college, you shouldn't have any high school stuff on your resume. Keep it really particular to that past 4 years, and really highlighting the experiences that you think makes you a good fit for the position. Leveraging industry terminology, looking at that job description and really highlighting some of those key skills and qualities that you bring to the table based on what they're looking for from the job description. So you might do a little tweaks between each application, right? You're not rewriting your entire resume. You're just tweaking it. You're changing some of the language. You might shift some of the content. Maybe one section goes above another and for one application, but then you drop that down for another application. You might change up some of your skills. You might change your summary section if you have a summary on your resume. So I think it's just students just tend to make one resume template and they're like, I'm going to use the same resume template and not make any adjustments to it and apply for 10 jobs. I think they're doing themselves a disservice when they do that. They really need to tweak it and really tailor it for that application. Same with a cover letter. You can't use the same generic cover letter for every application. You have to really focus on who you are, what skills and qualities and strengths you bring to the table, and why you're a good fit for that role. So you're really looking at the job description when you're writing a cover letter. You're looking at the key qualities they're looking for. You're highlighting great examples, very specific examples from your experience that make you a good fit for that job. Also, the candidate needs to think about why they want to work for that company, and they need to tell the company in the cover letter during that, in that narrative, why they want to work there. So knowing information, doing your research on the company is very crucial for that cover letter. And the cover letter is your narrative as a candidate. It's your story, right? So it needs to be in your voice. It needs to be written professionally, of course, but it needs to be in your voice as a candidate. And it needs to, really sell yourself, right? You need to highlight what you've done, and really market yourself in that way. So great question.
This is all phenomenal stuff. I mean, EJ, back me up here. You cannot be exposed to this kind of information from someone like anywhere else, unless this is amazing.
Two things. First of all, I'm glad that we're LVC grads that we can use Brynn.
Yes.
If we're ever looking somewhere. But second of all, Brynn, where have you been all my life when I was applying for other jobs? I didn't know all this. So yeah,
this is unbelievable information. I mean, people will be blown away and I actually wanted to ask this too, because I didn't even think to ask this earlier. Something that people ask a lot is, how long should a resume be? Sometimes they say, oh, that's so old school. You just want to have 1 page, or no, you got to have 4 or 5 pages. That's old school. What would you recommend?
Oh my gosh, the big debate, right?
It's huge debate.
1 page, 2 page. Think of your resume as 1 page per 10 years of experience. So a college student fresh out of undergrad should not have more than a 1-page resume. They don't have more than 10 years of experience. But someone like me or someone like either of you we probably have 2-page resumes at this point. You really want to try to keep it to that 2 pages or less for as long as you can once you're a professional out in the industry. I think remembering that you're not putting everything you've ever done on your resume, you're just highlighting what is applicable to that position. So I think, it's a big debate. And, honestly, I tell a student, if they were super, super involved in undergrad and maybe they went straight on to grad school, or maybe they're in one of our 3+1 programs, or maybe they're in our DPT program, you might be on 1.5 pages for a resume because you've been in college a little bit longer. And all of those experiences, internships, student teaching, clinical rotations, all that stuff really builds up. So if a student's on 1.5 pages, 1.25 pages, 1.25 pages, just own it and be okay with it. If the employer really wants to look at both pages, they will. What I tell people who have more than one page resumes is put everything that you really want the employer to see on that first page. And the reason is because if they don't want to look at the second page, you've at least given them all that great stuff on that first page, right? So all your credentials, the internships, the clinical rotations, all that stuff that is really necessary for the employment, keep that on the first page. Put the extracurriculars on the second page, put the other, other experiences on that second page. I'm not saying extracurriculars are not worth first page material. I'm just saying that it just depends on the industry, and some industries are going to look for those professional experiences related before they're going to look for additional experiences. So, and that's why we offer individualized appointments, because it's based on that student, it's based on their experience. The industry they're entering plays a huge factor in how we tailor a resume. And we really do it on a case by case. So we're really working with each individual student on that unique document for those particular roles. But it is a big debate. And I mean, personally, I don't really have a strong answer.
No,
One page is great. 2 pages is okay. Like if you have a CV, now I don't, you didn't ask me about that, but CVs don't have a page limit. So, if you're in an industry like academia, sciences, they tend to have CVs.
What is it? What is a CV? I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's fine. A CV is a curriculum vitae, so it's a more extensive document. It includes everything you've ever done: research, teaching, publications, presentations, educational experiences, career experiences, all that great stuff. So some industries in the United States, there are some industries that would prefer a CV. In other countries, CV is the most common version of a document to submit, but it just depends. So I think, we can work with students on what that looks like for them, depending on their industry.
Yeah, I know the industry is big because sometimes it might even be like a portfolio. It could be your resume in a way for some like types of majors that students pursue.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess follow-up question to that is just like, what is one quick tip that you could share with our audience, like as a place for them to start? Like if they're like, I have no resume, or I'm however old and whatnot, like, and I haven't done a resume in 20, 30 years, what's just one quick, easy tip that you would recommend?
I have 2 tips.
Ooh,
So the
above and
first
beyond.
tip, the first tip would be, don't use a pre-created resume template that you find online. They're really hard to manipulate. The formatting, they might look great, but the format is really difficult, and they end up looking pretty standard and pretty, similar to a lot of other formats. So I would say don't try to steer away from using a pre-created template. I know it's very hard because it's so easy. It's like a plug and play, right? It tells you
Yeah.
exactly where to put your info. The first tip, that's the first tip. The second tip would be just start from scratch. Sit down with a notepad and a pencil, or sit down at your laptop with a blank document and literally think back to everything you've ever done. Start documenting every job you've had, every extracurricular involvement you've had, every community service or volunteer involvement you've ever had. Identify the name of the company, identify the date range that you did that work, if you can remember that. Think about the title you had. If it was an employer or something, think about your title and some details of the work that you've done, more of like an outline. So don't try to it's really difficult when you're starting from scratch if you're thinking of content and format at the same time. I think content is crucial. You need the content. We can reformat it whatever way we need to, but first you need the content. So I would say just do a big brainstorming session with yourself and just dump all that data into a document. Once you have it in a document, we can work with you, career centers can work with you on the formatting and how to lay out the content and things like that. But I think that's the biggest piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And I know, EJ, I think I told you this, but Brynn, when I had you look at my resume, I remember back when I got roasted by Brynn because she's like, this is a pre-template or something like that. And mine was bad, but she helped me out. She made it so much better for me. And now I can talk about my experience with you all the time.
Well,
That's
Brynn
good.
roasted you. She just went up even higher in my world.
Yeah, if she saw your LinkedIn page, imagine what she would do to you then. Yeah, we know what
Probably
that.
true.
He doesn't
Yeah.
even have a profile picture. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Sorry. All right, Brynn. We know the Admission Guys podcast is for everyone applying anywhere, but now it's time to sell Lebanon Valley a little bit. So what makes your services over there in the Brynn Center different from what other colleges are offering?
That's a tricky question because in our core, we are a career center. And when you think about the core of a career center, we all do very similar things, right? Host job fairs, host networking events, have individual appointments, that those kind of things. I think what makes Lebanon Valley College's career center different is that we're in a transitional stage right now. We're thinking about what the future of career centers look like, and you probably are sick and tired of talking about COVID and pre-COVID and post-COVID, but we had to adjust a lot of our programming. We were available virtually before COVID. We did virtual appointments. We did some virtual presentations and stuff, but we had to convert our entire operation to a virtual format. So I think now we're in a position where we're thinking about future and how we can merge both worlds of in-person and virtual and reach a broader audience. So I think some things that make us really special are that we have been very intentional on embedding career programming into the curriculum, where we've embedded career programming into the Constellation general education requirements. We work really strongly and really, individualized with each academic department to talk about how we can bring career programming into those curricula, seminar sessions and, those types of experiences. We're intentional about that. We're not the only college that does that, but I think we're ahead of a lot of our competitors in those ways. And we still have growth to do. We still have room to grow in those areas, but we want to make sure that if a student is taking that general education, that Constellation curriculum, that they're receiving those other pieces, those other, important pieces of information about career planning specific to a certain industry, and just general messaging about the importance of planning for your career early in your college education. I think that's why we stack it so much at the beginning. We want students as first year students to understand the importance of don't wait till your senior year to visit the career center. Because by then it might be a little bit too late. They might have not taken all the steps necessary to really market themselves well in that competitive landscape. So we have work to do in the embedding in Constellation, but I think we've done a really great job in at least the past 5 years that I've been with the center. I think we also change our programming, right? So I can't tell you too much, but we have some really exciting new programming that we're going to roll out next fall. We want to get students engaging with employers much more strategically. We want students to get some interface with employers, not just at LVC, but we want to take them. We want to go on some field trips. We want to go on some road trips. We want to take students out in the world and kind of really get them involved. We had this on our radar before COVID, but obviously COVID made road trips pretty impossible with college students. So we have some really fun programming that we're hoping to roll out in the next 2 academic years. And more ways to engage. I think the engagement and the networking are really, really crucial. So we're going to put a lot of emphasis in those areas. I
That's all great stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that because my daughter's going to be a freshman next year. So glad to hear that all that kind of stuff she can take advantage of as she, enters the college and continues her, education here. So thank you.
Yeah, everything that you just said clearly differentiates the services that you guys provide at Lebanon Valley. Because, I haven't been on a college tour in a while, and EJ, we don't even want to talk about how long it was for you. But I gotta say that from what I've heard sometimes of people saying, just we help you get jobs. Okay, cool, or we help you with your resume. But the things that you listed, it just kind of blows me away. But a question I guess I'll ask then is, what advice would you give to students who are about to enter into college this upcoming year or this upcoming fall, I guess?
I think so. Advice that I would give to students entering this coming fall would be open-minded, and try new things, try different things, broaden your experiences, broaden your skill set. I don't think there's often many different paths a student can take to get to their end goal. And I sometimes think some students just get driven on that one path and they end up missing out on other opportunities because they have that one path focus. employers want to see students who are well-rounded and have developed those soft skills, teamwork, communication, critical thinking, all those things. And there's so many great ways to develop those skills if you just try a bunch of things and think of, figure out what works for you. And I would say have your plan, right? Obviously, we all need to make goals and set plans, but also have a backup plan. We're learning that right now with the graduating seniors. They need to have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C, because the landscape changes, and the next couple of years, the employment landscapes, I don't know what it's going to look like. Some industries are finally reopening now, and I think, it's just really challenging when you have that one track mind, when you're, I think having multiple plans and just say yes to stuff, join things, go to things, meet new people, build your network, and start early. Don't wait till senior year. Don't wait till junior year. And develop some really great experiences and some really great skills. So I would tell the first year students, like, be intentional about all that, because it'll pay off in the long run.
That's great advice. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brynn, a little bit of a fun question.
Oh boy.
If you could have a massive billboard anywhere in the world where millions of people would see it every day, what would it say and why? What's your message?
So is it a professional message, like related to the Brynn Center? Is it a personal message?
Either one.
You decide.
Yeah. President McLaren had both. We will tell you that.
Okay.
This is pretty funny.
Boy.
Yeah.
This is a stacked question.
Could be anything. Your life motto, something you believe in. I mean, we already asked you what advice you'd give students entering college. I know it's kind of a tough one. It always stumps them. That's what I love.
Oh gosh. Okay. So personally, I think I would have something on the billboard related to just acceptance and kindness. I think just being kind, and just be kind. Be kind. Maybe it would just say be kind, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my personal message, is just to practice kindness and understand.
Nothing wrong with that. That's great.
Yeah. Professionally, I mean, I think I love LVC. I love working at LVC. I really believe in the mission of the college. So I would want it to be something related to like how awesome LVC is and how awesome our students are, because we do the work, right? We're here, we talk to people, we help people, but like the students are really what make the experience in my mind. Like they're just phenomenal. They do such great stuff all the time. So I would want to, and I don't know the words to put, or like a graphic or something like that. Something catchy that catches your eye would be on the billboard for sure, but something just related to like the culture of LVC and the type and our student body and just how impressive they are. But I don't know what that would look like. Sorry, that's kind of not a really direct answer, but
that's a great answer. I like it. I do like that a lot.
Absolutely.
EJ, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to ask Brynn today? Because I mean, like I said, this is a type of an episode where if someone's running on a treadmill, if they're driving, listening to that, they're gonna have to pull over and take notes, because this is awesome. I wish we had like a note sheet that we could have people get, but we don't. We're not that good.
Cole, I completely agree. I don't think there's anything else I have, but I definitely want to go back and re-listen myself just to learn more and kind of catch some of the things that Brynn's talking about for myself, for my daughter, for, just the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But Brynn, we want to just acknowledge you for all the great things that you've done at LVC and for coming on, just from seeing you and how well you just serve the students and just making a difference in their ability with getting jobs and basically being able to stand out. And stuff like that. And with you and I being a part of the presidential search committee and everything, that I've gotten to know you over the past couple of years, it's just evident that you're a great person who goes above and beyond, and LVC is lucky to have you and your abilities here. So we just want to acknowledge you for everything.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I think it's a team effort, right? Like we're all in this together. We all have our common goal. I could not do the work that I do without the team I have in the Brynn Center. So I can take no credit personally for the work that we do, because honestly, I'm just there making sure everyone's happy, making sure it's all going smoothly. It's the rest of the team, all their unique skills, all their unique abilities, and we all bring it all together. And the dynamic in the Brynn Center team is just really phenomenal. Everyone is different. and bring some great perspective to the table. And so I couldn't do it without the team. So it's definitely, I can't take all that credit.
Yeah. And you guys are pretty active on social media. The Breen Center is, correct? Where can students or parents follow you guys on?
Absolutely. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, pretty active on all three. We have different messaging that goes out on all three platforms, but I think LVC Breen Center is the I don't know social media technology. You guys are going to help me with the lingo, but LVC Breen Center, if you search for that, you'll find us. Please follow us. Check us out. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help. So if you're a prospective student considering LVC, please follow us, connect with me. I'm happy to help answer any questions. I've met with plenty of prospective students and their families before. True. So I'm happy to continue that. And, for anyone listening, just use your resources. People are here. We're here to help. So, we're happy to help any way we can.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brynn.
Absolutely. Thank you.